Hello everyone. So, Nier Reincarnation, uh, the devs really just don't have any breaks once more. I think that's kind of what happened until after the Drakengard banner, where they kind of slow things down. But for Christmas, they didn't slow things down like in the slightest. They just had, the Christmas banner #1 with Theo and Lavanya, and then they had that seasonal rerun with uh, the summer seasonals, and then as well as the celebration banners, which at double rate. I think a lot of people fell for that, and then they had the Christmas Akiha. That's banner #3, and now they have the New Year's banners. So they really want to, and that's not even mentioning. We had I think it's going on right now, right? We have the Abstract Witch, and then also the subjugation. Yes. So that's not even including these banners that just running. It's just we're talking about the limited banners. So out of the units, how good are these units? Are they worth actually summoning on? I think if you're a new player, this is definitely worth, just because they're limited and they are pretty good. Although in terms of just look at Noelle. Noelle is actually not bad. This attack doesn't look great, but one thing a lot of people don't notice is right now the hot new thing that's coming out all the time is this kind of rush abilities, which is increase. If you stack the weapons of a particular type, you get like bonus stats, and they're actually decently significant. Like, so in this case, you would want 3 fire weapons, and it is quite significant. So usually the units we have would have even lower attack than this. And then she also gets the plus 40% for 60 seconds, so she does a lot of damage. One thing with regards to these stats is that if it's a timed ability, in this case it's the 40%, is not shown on the attack, and any kind of this rush ability isn't shown on the force calculation, and it's not shown on the base stats. But otherwise, the defense is bad. But HP is offset by an okay HP. And then the character ability, this is a very high multiplier. So this is damage dealer. Noelle, I'm not sure if it's better than, say, I think offensively it would be better than EX Noelle, who is more geared towards being a tank. But I'm not sure if it's better than a celebratory Noelle, who is more of a supportive buffer, and she does good damage by herself anyway, but she actually elevates the team's damage to something really high. In terms of this weapon, it's a low cooldown, 16 seconds, low cooldown, decent-ish damage for a weapon, and the second ability is also low cooldown. So this is actually a really good PvP weapon, just based off the cooldowns already, right? And fire up damage, that's really good. This is a 30%. Normally, if you get like a plus, you would only get like a plus 10% attack, which is 10%, or you get like a timed plus 20%, and this is just a permanent plus 30%. And yeah, so this is really good, and crit rate up by 10%. That's great. So this is a really good weapon for PvP as a primary. Doesn't have fleet foot though. And then in terms of this Noelle, doesn't have fleet foot, so that's already a minus for PvP. Although I think she'll do really good damage, so she could occupy like a non-agility character slot, in which you're just focused on cooldown reduction, and then having your abilities go off first. So definitely worth. This is, I think, a top tier, at least for PvE. Also good for PvP. Then we have the the 063Y. This is a very unique unit, in that it has the skill, which is a taunt, and it's usable at the start of the battle. So this is definitely an upgrade from the free Rion we got, who has Taunt, but it's just a normal character ability, and you can't use it in the beginning. In terms of the stats, both attack and defense are horrible, but really high HP, so that's the toughness. So the base HP has to be pretty high already, and then you have the 20% on the toughness. But this is reflected on this 80,000 right here. And then you have the water equipped weapon, so that's also quite nice. That actually kind of offsets the attack and defense depending on what weapon you have. And then this weapon, this is a low cooldown. Once again, low cooldown is generally good for PvP. And the second ability, not so low cooldown. We have lower cooldown great swords, but this is not a bad PvP weapon, although toughness is really bad for it's not good for PvP, and Aegis is also not good for PvP. So I wouldn't say this is a good PvP weapon. It's okay. It fits the character as like kind of a tanking character that taunts, so it's fitting, but you are really trading quite a bit of damage using this weapon. So, but I think this is worth a pull if you're playing PvP, because you can use this to draw the attention away from your damage dealers. Although some people have experienced a problem with this ability is at the beginning, even if you click this ability, the high agility characters could still attack you before you actually draw the aggro to yourself. And then you could very well be facing a scenario where like you pull the aggro, but your damage dealers are dead already. So that's just, we'll see how the experimentation goes. But this is a very unique unit, and yeah, I think it's pretty good. And then we have this Rion, who is, by the looks of this, kind of a healer, and also good defense stats, and HP. So in terms of bulk, I'm not sure which one's better. Right, because 3,600 defense isn't really that high, but the HP is but it's much higher than this. And then I think he also he gets the light rush, which is really good, and he gets all ally HP up by 10%. So that's also really good. Right, I'm not sure if that's I think that since it's a permanent ability, it must be reflected in the HP here. And then his weapon, it's like the damage is not very high, but it's low cooldown. This one's really long cooldown. So not good for PvP, but it's good for PvE. Like this buffs light damage, and then Lucid Boon, and then toughness. So Rion looks to be the weakest character out of here, but still okay as a character. I think he's okay. He's not. I think the prize would either be him or the New Year's Noel. In this case, is this banner worth pulling on? If you're a new player, yes. If you have other units, though, I don't see anything enticing here in particular. And they also go into the Gale. That is free. So if you go into her... Alright, I don't have her. Oh, and I think I have to go into library, you know. No, that's... What was it? The encyclopedia. So then we should have her. This is her maxed out stats. So this is the free one that's been given out. I'm really happy that they are actually... Like, she looks really nice. In terms of actual playability, she's definitely not that good. The HP is actually pretty good, since most Gales don't have good HP. Like, this is okay. Attack is low. And as you're about to see, the attack is almost unwarrantedly low. The defense is actually not too horrible. But yeah, if you look at the abilities, this ability is not that great. It's only 350%. Although the secondary is okay, right? And then Cage Vigor is just bad. It's probably one of the worst abilities in the game. And then the Void Rush, but this is only at 25% Void Rush. This is something that happens to free units a lot. The Celebration Field we had also had a Void Rush of 25%. So that's not very good. It almost does not offset the low attack. Although it's still better than the Field. That Field had like 2,000 something attack. I think she's decent as like a free unit. But for PvP, she doesn't have Fleetfoot like a lot of other Gales. And for PvE, I think she's decent for PvE. But there are definitely better Gales like Celebration Gale or even the Abstract Gale has got to be better than this. So I'm decently okay with this. I'm not okay with the... I'll be okay if this banner is the only kind of... There's only one Christmas banner and then one New Year's banner. But they try to shove 2 Christmas banners. They try to have that rerun banner in between to entice players so that most people would be kind of out of gems now. But you know, since people can just grind EX characters, I don't think it's a huge deal. This banner, it's not bad, but also I don't see a huge incentive to want to pull in unless you want to just play with the taunt character. Yeah, so that's my review for this whole banner. And you guys have a happy holiday.